All right, so let's get started on today's first question here. Remember, this is good for all states. It says, when making adjustments based on the following information, what should be done with the $2,500? And we see here we have a comparable sales price of $400,000. The comparable property has a two-car garage. The subject property has no garage, and the garage value is $3,000. Okay? So here are our answers. A, it should be added to the price of the comparable. It should be added to the price of the subject property. It should be subtracted from the price of the subject property. It should be subtracted from the price of the comparable property. Now, according to our knowledge, we know that we cannot subtract the price from the subject property. That's the house you're trying to sell and the house you're trying to get on the market and make a price for. So we can easily cancel out these two answers. B, because the subject property cannot be touched. It always has to come from the comparable. Okay? Because the comparable is the one that's already sold. So we either have to add or take away from the comparable. So the comparable is at $400,000. The comparable has a two-car garage, but the subject property has no garage. So they're trying to say this should have said 2,500, sorry. This should have been, let's say this says 3,000. Sorry about that. So $3,000 here, not 2,500. So what are we going to do with this here? Are we going to add it to the comparable, or are we going to subtract it from the comparable? When the comparable is better, you subtract. Okay? So always remember that, CBS. So comparable, better, subtract. So if the comparable is better, which it does, it has a two-car garage versus no garage. So the comparable is a better buy, right, than the subject one. So we're definitely going to subtract the $3,000 from the price of the comparable. Okay? So when the comparable is better, you subtract the amount. All right, let's go to the next question. All right, it says here, what is the formula to determine the loan to value ratio? All right, we have A, loan multiplied by value. B, value divided by loan. C, loan divided by value. Or D, loan subtracted from value. So the way that you determine the formula is loan to value. So we're dividing loan over value. So my answer is going to be C. All right, so it says here, if the price of a lot is $9 per square foot, how many square feet are contained in a lot that sells for $27,000? All right, so all we have to do here is just divide. Okay, so we're just going to divide 27,000 by $9. And we're going to get 3,000. So you guys were right. Good job. See? Super easy. All right? Super easy. All right, so let's look at this one here. It says a property has a value of $240,000 and a net operating income of $30,000. What is the rate of capitalization? All right, so now we are going to we see here rate of capitalization. That tells us that our friendly T-chart can come out and play and we can use it. Okay? Since we're dealing with rate of capitalization, we know we're dealing with rate, right? A percent. So that's what they need you to find. So then now we just plug in the rest of the stuff. Okay, so property has a value of $240,000 and a net operating income of $30,000. So the net operating income, if I see it right here, right, you see it right there, NOI, I'm going to put $30,000 here. and then 240,000 in my total sales price. So now with this T method, I know I can just divide 30,000 divided by 240,000, and that's going to equal 0.125. But remember, we do not have this as a percent. So to change this to a percent, we have to multiply it by 100 or just move the decimal 2 places. So 0.125 times 100 equals 12.5%. And there you have it, guys. 12.5% is the rate of capitalization for this amount. Let's go on. All right, so it says if interest is at 12% for 3 months equals, if interest at 2.5% for 3 months equals $135, what is the principal amount? So we have I equals PRT. That's the formula we're going to use. So this formula here, I is your interest, your total interest, right? P is the principal amount. Principal. I spelled it right. Yeah, okay. So that's the amount like borrowed, okay? Or the amount that you like put into an account. Then R is your rate or your percent. Oh, gosh. Your percent, but you need to put it as a decimal, okay? And then T is time, but in years. Like, for example, here it says 3 months. So we're going to have to convert that to years, which is easy. You guys know how many months are in a year. 12. So 3 out of 12 months. That's how you put that. So let's set this all up. All right. So we have interest at 12 months for 3 months, and it equals $135. So my interest is equal to $135. So I'm going to put it here under I. So $135. And it's asking what's the principal amount. So we don't know that. So we're going to leave P by itself. R is the percent, 12%. So I'm going to change that to a decimal. Remember, 12 over 100 is going to equal 0.12. So I'm going to write 0.12 here. And then time is 3 months. So I'm going to say 3 out of 12 months. Now, for all of us that know 3 out of 12, that's a quarter of a year, right? We know that that's a quarter of a year. Sometimes it might not be that easy, but this is how you would work it. First, you would multiply these two. That's the first step. All right, can you guys see this? All right, so you would first multiply these two. Then you have, let's rewrite it. So $135 equals, and then we're going to multiply these two. Oops. All right, so this is how I would do it. Let me turn on my light here. This is how I would do it. All right, so I'm going to start with the fraction first. I would say 3 divided by 12 equals. I get that number. Can you guys see that? 0.25. And then I'm going to multiply it by 0.12. I get 0.003. All right, so that's my answer here. Let me put the light off. So equals P times 0.03. So then what you're going to do here is you're just dividing by this number to both sides. So then you're going to get your principal amount. Remember, I told you that when you're dividing by a decimal this small, you're going to get a bigger number, okay? So when you punch it in your calculator, 135 divided by 0.03, you get $4,500. Can you see that? All right. So the principal is going to equal to $4,500. There's my answer. So my answer is D. D for Delaware. Is anybody from Delaware here? All right, here we go. We got a big chunky one. We got a chunky one here, people. It says taxes for the year were $12,800. Closing is March 17, and the seller has agreed to be responsible for all charges on the day of closing. So that basically means that the seller owns day of closing. Okay, so this is a proration problem. All right. And it says using the 365-day method, how would this proration appear on the closing statement? All right, so if you are familiar with this, you know that what the first step is to find out cost per day. That's the first step. How much are these taxes per day? Then the second step is to find out how many days the seller owned the property. And then the third step and final step is to multiply those two figures. Step 1 times step 2. So step 1. So step 1 is find cost per day. All right, so we're going to get the tax amount, $12,800. And we're going to divide it by 365 because they said to use 365. If they tell you to use 360 days, remember that is going by a 30-month calendar. Like every day is 30 months. I mean, every month is 30 days. Okay, let me say that again. If it says 360-day method, use 30 days for each month. Okay? Not 31, 30, 28, etc. No, 30 days per month, even February. Okay? So here we're going to say, we're going to divide this. So we have 12,800. I hope you guys can see that. Divided by 365. And then we get $35 and about 7 cents. Okay? So $35 and 7 cents per day. Now step 2. Find how many days. So this is now how many days does the seller own the property, right? Because the seller's the one closing. So if closing is March 17, that means we have January, February, and March to count for. Okay, remember the knuckle method. Okay? The knuckle method is we use the knuckles for 31 days. All right, the middle here is 28 or 30. So it goes January, February, March, April, May, June, July. Then you start all over. August, September, October, November, December. January now has 31 days. February has 28 days. And March has 17 because the seller is taking all the days. All the days up to closing. So now we're going to add up all these. So 31 times 28. Oh, not times. Sorry. 31 plus 28 plus 17 gives us a total of 76 days that the seller owns. Okay? 76 days out of the year, the seller owns the property. So now step 3 is multiply step 1 by step 2. And that's it. All right, so then we say 76 times $35.07, and we get that amount. Well, the reason why we're getting that amount is because we've rounded. So watch, if you go 12,800, this is why rounding sometimes is not good until the very end. And then we divide by 365, and we're going to get this. And then watch, when I multiply by 76, see, the answer comes out. If you see that. If I rounded before, it didn't come out, but I mean, it's pretty clear. You know what the answer is. So we have 35.07. I'm just going to say that. It's not going to be mathematically correct, but this is the answer. $2,665.21. Now we round at the very end. See? This is a 5. So that means this number has to go up 1. So it's 21. Okay? So this is what the seller has to be debited because he has not paid the taxes yet. It's still March. Taxes are due in November. So now we got to figure out which one it is. All right, so let's do by process of elimination. So we know it's going to debit the seller here. All right, so we have debit seller this and credit buyer that. Okay, maybe. We have debit buyer. No, we're not debiting the buyer and we're not crediting the seller because we know it's definitely not that. We're debiting the seller, okay, and crediting the buyer. Okay, that one can stay. And debit buyer, we're not debiting buyer and we're not crediting seller. So it's either A or C. Which one do you guys think it is? So let me tell you something. Whenever you have this, that means that the seller still owes that. So it's going to be taken away from the seller, right? And then credited back to the seller. So Jekka, you were totally right. The answer is C. All right. So a property that measures 120 feet by 300 feet sold for $38,500. What was the price per square foot? So our first step, remember, is we're going to find the area of this property. Okay, so if we have a property, let me draw a little square here. And it's 120, and trust me, this is not perfect by any means. And this is 300 feet. So that's how much it measures, and it's sold for $38,500. So what we're going to do here is we're going to find the area. Okay, so we say 120 times 300. That's going to equal $3,600. 36,000, right? Let me see. See, even I have to do the calculator. Yeah, 36,000. This is 36,000 square feet. All right. So now we're going to get this money. Remember, money goes on top when we're dealing with the property price per square foot. So 38,500 divided by 36,000. Okay. Remember, it's price, right? Per the divide sign, the divide bar, square foot. This is your square feet. So if you ever have any concern, like, oh my God, which way do I put it, on top or bottom? Look what it says, price per square foot. So per means to divide. So price, that's the price of the property, per the square footage, which is the whole area. Okay, so now we divide 38,500 divided by 36,000. And we get 1.069. So since we have a 9 here, we got to round up. So for those of you in the chat that are saying, hey, congratulations. Good job. You guys did it. Hey. All right. Awesome. Good work today, guys. You guys did really, really well. Yes, you got to round up. So, oh, sorry. I should have written this in here. So this equals 1.069. Right? And since you have a 9 here, this has to round up to 1, right? To 7. And there it is. $1.07. So if it said 1.064, this 4, you would leave this alone and it would just equal $1.06. Okay? I have to leave you with your quote of the day. your little motivation. Be you, do you for you. Okay? Remember, be yourself. No one else is better qualified. All right? And when you're in a sea of a million other real estate agents, you have to know how to stand out. Thank you all so much for joining. I appreciate you. I don't know how much more I need to tell you that I appreciate you all so much. Have a wonderful night. Good night, guys.